One of the most misunderstood things in dating is what happens when a woman truly lets go. A lot of people think love means holding on tighter, waiting longer, forgiving more, and proving loyalty again and again. But many times, the opposite creates the deepest effect. When a woman steps back, not with anger, not with drama, but with calm self-respect, something shifts inside a man. It is quiet, but powerful. And almost every man who has felt it knows exactly what it is. The truth is simple. People chase what feels like it could disappear. What becomes rare starts to feel valuable. That is basic human nature. And men are not different. When a woman walks away from a situation that no longer matches her value, she stops trying to convince someone to choose her. She is saying, without needing to say much at all, if you cannot see what I bring, that is your loss. And that moment lands hard. When you are always available, always waiting, always accepting the bare minimum, you do not become more lovable. You just become easier to overlook. But when you show that you can care deeply and still walk away when that care is not being respected, that is when a man starts to feel your absence. And stay with me here, because this is where it gets real. Your time mattered. Your energy mattered. Your loyalty mattered. He may not have understood their worth while he still had access to them. But once they are gone, the weight of that loss becomes impossible to ignore. Letting someone go is not about games. It is not reverse psychology. It is not a trick to make someone come running back. It is about knowing your worth when someone else is moving with confusion. When you walk away with grace, not with spite, not with manipulation, but with peace, the whole energy changes. You are no longer trying to win someone over. You are not trying to explain your value line by line. You are simply done. Not in a loud way, not in a messy, watch me disappear kind of way. More like, I know what I carry, and I will not stay where it is not honored. That kind of calm hits differently. It stays in a person's mind. Men can feel the difference between a woman who leaves to prove a point and a woman who leaves because she is honestly at peace with letting go. The first one feels temporary. The second one feels final. And that final kind of energy is unforgettable. Most men do not fall harder for the woman who tried the hardest. They often fall harder for the woman who stopped trying once she saw the effort was not being matched. That is where respect begins. That is where desire can wake back up. Not because she posted a quote online, not because she made him jealous, but because she had the strength to leave comfort behind in the name of self-respect. And if you have ever seen that happen, then you already know it leaves a mark. A woman who lets go is not saying he never mattered. She is saying she matters too. And that truth can wake something up in a man that no speech ever could. A lot of people think letting go means losing. They think maybe if they just stayed a little longer, gave a little more, explained a little better, then finally he would understand their worth. But sometimes the only way someone sees your value is when you are no longer there. Sometimes your silence says more than your words ever could. Sometimes your decision to step away echoes in a person's heart much longer than your effort to stay. And here is the twist. When you let go for the right reason, not out of pride, not to punish, but because you truly know you deserve more, life has a strange way of answering that. Maybe he comes back different. Maybe someone better appears. Or maybe you finally see that you never needed him in the way you thought you did. Either way, you win. You get your peace back, he gets a reality check. Men fall harder when they realize they lost something rare. And rare is not the woman who gives endlessly and asks for nothing. Rare is the woman who knows when enough is enough. Rare is the woman who can love deeply but still leave when that love is not being cared for. The woman who does not chase but invites. The woman who does not beg but believes in herself. And trust me, the moment he realizes you are no longer checking for him, no longer waiting for his message, no longer hoping in silence, that is when he starts checking for you. Not because you fooled him, because you showed him your love was a gift, not a guarantee. And if that line hit you, keep listening, because it only gets deeper from here. When a woman sets a boundary and is willing to walk away, something changes in how a man sees her. It is not only the action of leaving, it is the message that action sends. It says, I am not afraid to lose you if keeping you means losing myself. That kind of inner strength stays with a person. Many people avoid boundaries because they fear boundaries will push someone away. And maybe they will. But the right boundary does not push away the right person. It clears out the wrong one. A woman who can say, this is not enough for me, even while wanting it to work, earns a kind of respect that pleading never gets. When a man sees that she will not bend her standards just to keep him around, it lands in a different way. She is not trying to win him. She is not performing her value. She already knows it. That is not arrogance. It is grounded confidence. And there is something deeply attractive about that. Many women confuse patience with tolerance. They stay in painful situations hoping things will improve, hoping kindness will change someone, hoping loyalty will finally make a man show up. But loyalty without boundaries often becomes self-abandonment. Little by little, it cuts into self-esteem and teaches the other person that less effort will still be accepted. Now compare that to a woman who lives by her values from the start. She does not need big speeches. If he becomes inconsistent, she steps back. If he is not ready to meet her where she is, she lets him go with grace. That does not make her cold, it makes her clear. And clarity forces reflection. When a man meets that kind of woman, charm is no longer enough. Chemistry is no longer enough. Potential is no longer enough, because she is not impressed by promises without action. She does not get excited by crumbs. She is not pulled in by inconsistency just because the connection feels intense. For maybe the first time in a long while, he is facing someone who will not settle for less. Not because she is trying to be difficult, but because she truly does not have the energy to entertain what steals her peace. That is the kind of woman who changes a man without trying to change him. She just is who she is. She knows love without respect feels empty. She knows if he does not value her time, her presence, and her heart, someone else will. And she is willing to leave, not as a tactic, but because she is not afraid to stand alone if that is what honesty requires. You know what happens when a man first feels that energy? Sometimes he is surprised. Sometimes he tells himself she just wants attention. Sometimes he assumes she will be back because that is what he has seen before. But then time passes. She does not chase. She does not remind him. She does not send long messages trying to make him understand. She is simply gone. And that is when it begins to hit. He is no longer comparing her to women who begged or stayed too long. He is comparing her to silence. He is comparing her to the lack of peace he once had and did not value enough. And that silence becomes loud. It forces him to think. It forces him to face what was real. It forces him to ask a question he can no longer avoid. What exactly did I let slip through my hands? That is the power of boundaries. They are not there to control another person. They are there to protect what you allow into your life. And when a man sees a woman walk away from what no longer serves her, he does not just admire her strength. He feels the weight of her absence. He starts to question his choices. He starts to wonder if he will ever find that same kind of energy again. The kind that loved deeply, but also expected better. The kind that did not demand growth with endless speeches, but inspired it simply by what it would and would not accept. That kind of self-respect leaves an imprint. People often assume the person who walks away hurts less. They think if someone lets go, then they must have stopped caring. But that is not always true. And this next part matters. Men do not always process emotion in the moment. It often reaches them later, quietly, slowly, when life gets still. At first, he may even feel relief. No more pressure, no more expectations, no more conversations he did not want to have. He might go out with friends. He might distract himself. He might convince himself he made the right choice. But loss does not always arrive like a crash. Sometimes it arrives like an echo. It builds over time. It grows in silence. And one day, when the noise is gone, he starts to feel it. He remembers her laugh. He remembers how she listened when nobody else really did. He remembers the way she cared without trying to control him. He notices that new conversations feel flat. New attention feels shallow. Something about what she carried begins to follow him into the quiet places of his life. This is why men often feel the full weight of losing a high-value woman only after she is already gone. In the moment, they are busy focusing on the discomfort, the argument, the pressure, the fear of commitment, the tension of being asked to show up more fully. But when she leaves with grace, without screaming, without begging, without trying to tear him down, that grace stays in his mind. It lingers. And that is when the deeper emotional impact starts. Not during the fight, not even during the goodbye, but later, weeks later, maybe more, when he is lying awake and cannot understand why nobody else feels the same. When he checks on her and sees that she is not falling apart, she is smiling, she is living, she is glowing in a life that no longer waits for him. That is when it sinks in. He starts to remember how she supported him, how she gave him peace, how she made space for his dreams without making herself invisible. And for the first time, maybe he sees the truth clearly. She was not trying to control me. She was trying to love me. I just did not see it in time. That realization hurts, because by then, she may already be gone for real. She may have grown into a version of herself that no longer needs closure, no longer needs answers, and definitely does not need to chase someone who missed her value the first time. And that contrast hits hard. The contrast between how grounded he felt with her and how empty things feel without her. She becomes the standard, the quiet benchmark, the woman he now understands too late. And what makes it even more powerful is this. She did not have to destroy him on the way out. She did not need to speak badly about him. She did not need to slam doors or leave chaos behind. She simply looked at the truth and said, "This is no longer good for me." That quiet confidence leaves a deep impression because it forces reflection instead of defensiveness. When someone leaves with bitterness, it is easy to dismiss. He can tell himself she was just angry. He can blame the emotion and avoid the lesson. But when she leaves with peace, there is nowhere to hide, no drama to focus on, no explosion to point at, just silence, just consequences, just the empty space where her presence used to be. And in that space, desire can rebuild, regret can grow, understanding can finally wake up. He starts to realize she did not fight because she lacked love. She stepped away because she finally loved herself enough. That changes the story in his head. Suddenly, she is not the woman he left behind. She is the woman who chose herself over staying in something that was not enough. And that kind of power is unforgettable. This is where a lot of men start asking different questions. Why didn't she chase me? Why was she so calm? Did she stop caring? Or did she simply know she deserved more? And that last question is the one that stays, because deep down, he knows it was not easy for her. He knows it took strength. He knows she did not walk away because it meant nothing. She walked away because staying would have cost her too much. And once he understands that, everything feels different. When a woman lets go from self-respect, she becomes the unanswered question, and people are naturally pulled toward what they do not fully understand. He may think at first that she is bluffing. He may expect her to return. He may assume this is just another cycle. But when the days pass and she stays gone, when the weeks move and she does not break, when her silence remains steady, that is when the truth hits. This was not a game. This was not a performance. She meant it. She actually walked away. And that is when the value of what he lost becomes clear. Her absence starts speaking for her. Her self-worth starts making noise without needing a single speech. It is not easy to let go of someone you care about. It is not easy to detach from a connection that felt real. But sometimes it is the most loving thing you can do for yourself. You stop chasing clarity from someone who keeps offering confusion. You stop begging for consistency from someone who keeps bringing chaos. You stop lowering your standards just to keep a person close. Instead, you raise your standards and let life show you who can rise and who cannot. And when that shift happens, everything changes. You move from waiting to be chosen to becoming the one who chooses. And that is powerful. That is attractive. That is rare. He starts to feel the imbalance in a way he never expected. He thought he held the power because he could come and go, but now she is the one with emotional control. She is the one who can leave. She is the one who did not crumble in his absence. And if you are still here, you already understand this is bigger than dating advice. This is about identity. This is about what happens when someone stops trading self-respect for temporary closeness. It may not hit him overnight. At first, he may still feel free. He may even tell himself it was no big loss. But slowly, reality changes shape. A song reminds him of her. A quiet evening brings back a memory. A message she used to send appears in his mind out of nowhere. The emotional space she once filled is now empty. And that emptiness does not feel as good as he thought it would. He starts replaying the small things, the way she looked at him when she was fully present, the way she cared without trying to control every move, the way she listened when others only waited for their turn to speak, and the way she simply stepped back once she realized he was not showing up for her in the same way. That mystery stays with him. How could she let go so fully? But deep down, he knows it was not easy. He knows it took courage. He knows she did not leave because she felt nothing. She left because she felt enough to know she could not keep shrinking herself. That truth echoes, because when someone leaves with peace, not revenge, not emotional chaos, there is no easy excuse left. He has to sit with it. He has to feel it. He has to admit that maybe she was not asking for too much. Maybe he was simply giving too little. And once a man starts seeing it through that lens, the whole dynamic changes. It is no longer about what she should have done differently. It becomes about what he failed to recognize while he still had the chance. That is the part many people never talk about, but it is real. And it changes everything. Maybe he will try to come back. Maybe he will test the waters. Maybe he will wonder if she will respond the way she used to. But the woman who truly walked away from a place of self-respect is not the same woman anymore. She did not leave as a trick. She left as a decision. And once that decision becomes real inside her, it changes how she moves. She becomes the one he could not shake, the one he could not bend, the one who did not break apart when he stopped choosing her. Instead, she became more whole in her own presence. And no matter who comes after her, there may always be that quiet question in his mind: what if I had shown up the way she deserved? that question can stay for a long time because she is no longer remembered only for what she gave. She is remembered for what she would not keep accepting, for the line she would not cross against herself, for the peace she protected. That is why the impact lasts. Not because she begged to be unforgettable, but because she never had to. She chose herself when it mattered most. And that choice spoke louder than any final speech ever could. So if you are in that place right now, hear this clearly. Letting go does not mean you failed. Walking away does not mean you did not care enough. Sometimes it means you finally cared about yourself enough to stop living on scraps. And strange as it sounds, that is often the exact moment someone else starts to see your real value. Not because you convinced them, because your absence made it impossible not to. That is why this kind of strength changes people. That is why it stays with them. And that is why many times men fall hardest for the woman who was strong enough to let them go.